Hello and welcome to The Recipe, brought to you by Filippo Berio. I'm your host, Theo Randall, chef patron at Theo Randall Cucina Italiana. Today I'm joined by a Sardinian chef whose passion for wholesome traditional cooking has captured millions online. After years of cooking across the world and leading Jamie Oliver's Cookery School, he is now preparing to release his debut cookbook. Please welcome the brilliant Francesco Mattana. Francesco, it's a real pleasure to have you here. This show is all about recipes with meaning. Tell us about the recipe you're going to cook today.
So today, this recipe, I like to call it Live to 100 Minestrone. You know, Minestrone is famous all over Italy, but this special one that comes from Sardinia, we like to call it Live to 100 because people in Sardinia, they have it pretty much every day.
Yep.
And sounds boring. I know.
It's not boring to me.
But, you know, it's all about working with the seasons. So Minestrone can change every month, every day, depending on what your fruit and veg shop has, right, available. And it's really healthy. And you know what? I used to don't like it at all when I was a child.
Really?
My mom used to make it for me pretty much 2-3 times a week. But now I love it. I love it because it's proper comfort food. It's really good for you, and it's so easy to make. So, and I think everyone should know how to make minestrone.
So this is a childhood recipe. You have memories of eating this as a child.
Absolutely. No, as I said, no great ones.
No great ones because you didn't like it.
Because my mom used to say, you know, Francesco, you're a little bit under the weather today. Let's make a minestrone. And I was like, I don't know if that's gonna make me happier, to be honest. But now I know that how good it was for me. And now I end up doing it pretty much every week.
Soups always have like amazing, you know, healing qualities. And this has got borlotti beans, it's got chickpeas, it's got all the things that kind of fill you up. But it's completely vegetarian, vegan.
It's completely vegetarian, and we're going to use some pecorino, if you wish, at the top. But yes, it's completely vegetarian. I use tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes as well. Sun-dried tomatoes, I like to call it the MSG, the Italian MSG, right? So that is going to give a lot of flavor. A really good sofrito is always a good start. So yes, it's pretty simple. We use some pasta as well. Mm-hmm. You can have it without pasta, but in Sardinia, we do have fregula. Mm-hmm. Do you know fregula?
I know fregula, yeah.
Fregula is a really particular type of pasta from Sardinia. It's almost like giant couscous. Okay. And you can drop into minestrone towards the end in the last 10 minutes.
So you cook it in the actual soup, so it absorbs all the flavor of...
Exactly, and it makes it a little bit starchy, a little bit heavier as well. So if you're looking more for a carb-heavy day, right?
So tell us about sofrito. What's the essence of a sofrito? What does a sofrito do to a minestrone?
So the sofrito is always the start of an Italian cuisine story, right?
Yeah.
And the sofrito, when you sweat it down at the beginning, it's really important in the minestrone that you don't caramelize it. But instead, you just sweat it down and you make them nice and soft, right? And that is pretty much the good base, the good start. Then straight after, you go with garlic, basil, sun-dried tomatoes, and parsley, and that gives a really good boost to the minestrone.
So the frito is the sort of the soul of the soup. It's got because you've got the carrots in there, which are quite sweet. Yep. You've got the onion in there, which is quite sweet. So I guess what you're doing, you're not caramelizing, as you pointed out, but it's about getting the sweetness from there.
Exactly. It's about getting the sweetness from there. But then, as I said, you can use different pulses as well, whatever you want, which is a good source of proteins and fibers. But then you can use different type of leafy vegetables as well, you know. Today we have Savoy cabbage, but you can use chard, you can use cavolo nero and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. It can change up through the season, whatever is in season. And for example, today we do have tomatoes, but if tomatoes are not in season, you can use sun-dried tomatoes, you can use tomato paste as well. I like to think about this recipe as a guide for people, right? Yeah. You can follow the step, but you can change it however you prefer it.
So the sofrito is the key, and then you can actually add other ingredients. I mean, if you had, like, say, for instance, fresh borlotti beans, or you have zucchini, or you have, you know, ingredients that are in season, you can change the recipe as you go.
As it goes. And even better, I think is a great refrigerator. Right? Because potatoes, for example, is one of the main wasted ingredients all over the world, right? And when they go a little bit sad in the fridge, I think is a great way to use it in soup or make sauce with it. This recipe, another beautiful thing about this is that you can make it quite quick using tin pulses,
Okay.
right? Nowadays, we can find a supermarket really good quality tin pulses. And we know people, they have a really busy life. And sometimes they don't have time to soak the beans.
24 hours soaking.
24 hours, who's going to make me do that? You can do it literally in under an hour if you want.
What I love about you, I read something about you, and you said you have this minestrone bag where you have anything left over, you chop it up, put it in the bag and put it in the freezer. I mean, that's just genius.
Yes, I mean, I didn't invent that. In Italy, if you go in the supermarket...
Just take the credit. Okay?
Should I take the credit? I'll take the credit. If you go to any supermarket in Italy, you will find these this bag in the freezer where there is literally write down sofrito bag or minestrone bag, right? And most of the time is when the ingredients in the supermarket, they are going a little bit sad. Again, the same process. And instead of wasting them, they just chop them up and it's ready to go.
Yeah, I love it. That's such a great...
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Great story. Francesco, I'm getting hungry. Let's start cooking. So, Francesco, what's the first stage of our Live to 100 minestrone, which I think is the most brilliant name for a soup?
So the first thing, always start from a good quality extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
So if you don't mind adding a good glug of extra virgin olive oil in there, and then we're gonna go in straight with our sofrito classic, right? So we're gonna go in with carrot, straight in, celery, and onions, right? What I like to do at this stage is to add a good pinch of salt.
Yes.
Because that helps to sweat down all the ingredients, have them to cook faster as well. So straight in.
So that will season, but also take out some of the moisture.
Exactly, exactly, right? So that one now has to cook for a little bit. Let's say about 5 to 10 minutes. So even if we cover it, it's going to cook even faster.
So tell us about your career. I mean, you had a restaurant when you were 21 in Brisbane. I mean, I don't know anyone that's done that. That's incredible.
It was the best thing I've ever done and the worst thing I've done at the same time, honestly, because 21. You can be a great cook. You can do, you can have the good base of how to cook, but then trust me, you don't know anything about business.
You have to be confident.
Yes, you have to be confident. So after a week that we were open, we became one of the best Italian restaurants in Brisbane.
Wow.
We sold out everything in a week. It was incredible. But then the problem is that I was under a student visa. So I was literally working 5 days a week, going to school 1 day a week. So I was literally killing myself, right? But I was enjoying it so much.
Yeah.
So I was working 110 hours a week, loving every second, but it wasn't really sustainable, right? People loved the food, but I couldn't do it for much longer, to be honest with you. So after 2 years, pretty much, that the restaurant was open, I had to rethink my plan. And I thought, you know what, I should come back to Europe, go closer to my parents, because my mama was very happy I was that far away, trust me. So when I came to London, there I really learned so much more about even other cuisine, which opened many, many doors about different type of cooking for me. And then actually when I came to London, I realized that there is something I truly love. Yes, it's cooking, but more than anything, is learn about cooking and teach it. Bring it out to as many people as possible.
But as a Sardinian, I mean, you have a responsibility to show off your cuisine. I mean, Sardinian food is incredible.
Sardinian food is actually quite interesting. I mean, you know so much about Italian food, right? And you know that there is so many different cuisines in Italy, right? Depending where you go, north to south, everywhere is different. And Sardinia is very different from others because we have an influence from Spanish, from Arabic cuisine. In fact, we use couscous, for example. We have spices, we have saffron, cumin, coriander. We even have a paella. We have a Sardinian paella.
I never knew that.
Sardinian paella is made with fregula. Instead of using bomba rice, we use fregula.
So fregula is durum wheat flour?
It's durum wheat flour and water. Sometimes you will find egg inside. And the reason why it's called fregula, it comes from the way it's made. It's made inside a big pot, a big ceramic pot, where you have a little bit of semolina inside, and you drizzle a little bit of water, and then you fregolare. Basically, it's by, I don't know how to say it in English, it's like by brushing it like this, making this movement, round movement, and then you end up with this little pasta.
Like couscous?
Like couscous, pretty much, exactly. The same way. Then, obviously, it's toasted nicely. That is smelling amazing already. You can't go wrong, right? So, from me, and now, what do we need? I like to call it a flavor bomb, right? Being from Sardinia, sunshine.
I'm looking at that sun-dried tomato.
Sun-dried tomato. This one comes straight from Sardinia. This one my auntie makes them.
Wow.
You guys are very lucky to taste this today.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate.
Honestly, you can see they are like covered in salt as well.
Plum tomatoes?
These one are plum tomatoes,
Okay.
exactly. You can use Roma or San Marzano as well. They're really, really good. But as I said, these one are umami. They are full of flavor. This one is going to be a really good lift up to the minestrone. So what I'm going to do, I like to call this a flavor bomb because I'm going to do sun-dried tomatoes, garlic, parsley and basil, and add it in there. Sweat it for a little bit, and then add the fresh tomatoes as well to kind of like make sure nothing is sticking in there.
So how does your auntie make a sun-dried tomato? Because we always sort of think of sun-dried tomatoes in packets and in oil, but how do you actually do it from scratch?
So I got the recipe in my new cookbook.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yes. But to be honest, it's pretty simple as long as you have sunshine.
Okay. Well, that's the thing we don't have here so much.
So all you have to do is basically cut tomato in half.
Yeah.
You can remove the seeds if you want, but it's not necessary. And then you need to literally cover them in salt and leave them in the sunshine throughout the whole day. Make sure you can put a little net on top so nothing goes on top. And then you bring them inside at night. And then you repeat the same process. You take them out the day after, always in the sunshine. And you repeat the same process for about 5 to 7 days, depending how strong is the sunshine. And then you end up with these beautiful sun-dried tomatoes.
So essentially you're curing them with the salt and the sun.
That's it. If you don't have sunshine, if you're not able to do this on the outdoor, in the cookbook, I wrote as well a recipe how to do it in a oven.
Yes.
So like kind of like slowly drying them out because you can do it.
There's so many wonderful ingredients in Italian food that you can dry. For instance, porcini mushrooms,
Yes.
Obviously like fennel seeds are just incredible in flavour and things. But
so good.
Sun-dried tomatoes, you don't see, there was a kind of era in the sort of 90s where sun-dried tomatoes were on every menu in London. And they've kind of lost their sort of credibility in some ways, but it's a wonderful ingredient. And seeing them in that state, which is just completely natural,
yes,
is such a nice way of cooking because they have got such great flavour.
For me, I use them soft. And I mean, in Sardinian cuisine, we do truly use them soft and even to season meat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in the minestrone or in pasta, whatever you want. And they are just a great use of it, especially, as I said, when tomatoes are not in season, I think what we need to learn again is how to follow the season and how to make the most of the ingredients that are available, right? First of all, because they are better for us, 100%. You get the best nutrition when they're in season. Second is an easy win. It's an easy win because they are so good. They are so much tastier, right? So if you use good quality ingredients when they're in season, I 100% guarantee your food is going to taste delicious.
It will. And the nice thing is also with Sardinian cuisine, a lot of Italian regions, there's a lot of preserving going on, isn't there? So when you've got an abundance of something, you dry it or you jar it or you do something with it which is going to preserve it. So you can use it in those months where it's a bit chilly and you want a bit of because could be quite a wintry soup, but you've got the fact you're using tomatoes in there.
Absolutely, that's right. Like a good example is the giardiniera. Good pickled vegetables is done throughout different seasons, whatever those ingredients are available. But again, tomato is a very good example because on social media, people see me using sometimes tin tomatoes. And they say, shame on you. You're Italian, using tin tomatoes. I say, mate, you know what?
Why not?
Tomatoes, they're not in season 12 months a year. So actually, sometimes the tin tomatoes or sun-dried tomatoes or whatever, they are better in January, February. You should use those ones because they've been packed throughout the best season, so they're nice and sweet, right? Yeah. And people sometimes they just need to be taught that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is there's a season for them, and so when they're actually picked, they're at their peak. And then they're put into the tin, and they keep for ages.
Exactly. So here what I'm doing, sun-dried tomatoes, garlic.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a little bit of parsley and basil, right?
Yeah.
And this is going to be a really, really good base as well. So I like to chop it all together, right?
So you're obviously a natural teacher, and so your career's taken you to a lot of teaching, obviously online, with your Cookery online, but also you've been working with Jamie Oliver at his cookery school.
Yes, exactly.
What's that like?
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much because we get people from all over the world. People love Jamie, and so for me, it's been absolutely grateful to be able to work with him since day one, since I came to London.
Really? Okay.
Literally, I remember my very first week in London. I was handling CVs. I printed like 50 CVs and I was around London handling CVs in restaurant.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in Bank,
Yeah.
in Threadneedle Street. There was this beautiful restaurant, Jamie's Italian. And I went in, I left the CV, and literally after a few hours, the manager called me. It's like, you got a job, and blah, blah, blah. I was like,
You got a job for even before the interview.
You got a job, go. So I went there to the interview and everything.
Yeah.
And I was so happy. And then from there, I start as a commis chef and work my way.
Commis chef, you had a restaurant in Brisbane as the chef patron. I mean, surely.
I know. So I had to start again from the bottom. I remember my interview with my really good friend, Laurent, head chef there at the time.
Yeah.
And when he was interviewing me, it was like, okay, well, we like you. I passed the test. We did a service together, 2-hour service at lunchtime.
Yeah.
He understood that I could stay behind the stove. So he said, okay, well, what position do you want, right? And as I said, I just came back from having my own restaurant. So I said to him, which was the head chef, I would like to be the head chef.
Not a good idea.
He looked at me like, what?
You want my job?
You want my job? I was like, you know what? You can start from commis chef. I was like, oh. So, but you know what? After a year or so, I was loving it. I ended up becoming chef de partie, then service chef, and eventually sous chef. And then from there, I think while I was cooking in the kitchen with all the other chefs, I remember we used to interview other people coming in. And I remember the chef sending these people to me, explaining about the menu, how to cook different dishes. And it was right there at that moment when I realized I do love cooking, but I'm loving this interaction.
Yeah.
I'm loving interaction to show people how to cook different dishes. So there was an opportunity to go to Jamie Oliver Cookery School. I was like, I feel like this feels like the perfect translation, right? So from working for 1 year in the restaurant, after that, I worked in the cookery school for another 2-3 years.
Okay.
And there I got the head chef position.
Finally.
Eventually I got the head chef position, all right? But it's been absolutely amazing working with Jamie, working with Gennaro. It's been very, very inspirational.
We all love Jamie and Gennaro.
Yeah.
So that's going to go in now, is it? So that's the garlic, the sun-dried tomatoes.
That's right. You're going to start smelling that. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, the sun-dried tomatoes, they are just absolutely beautiful.
I suddenly just changed it. I mean, I love the smell of the sofrito, but you said that it's the sun-dried tomato that really comes out. So Sardinia is famous for, I mean, this whole blue zone idea of, eating food that's just so healthy. I mean, you must have been brought up with that. I mean, you come from a country where you are literally, you get up in the morning, it's all about food from the beginning of the day to the end of the day.
Yes, I mean, I was quite lucky.
Yeah.
I have to say that because my granddad, one of my granddad was a fisherman.
Yeah.
The other granddad had a beautiful farm. Okay. So the produce, it was absolutely amazing every day. And in fact, I always say that I think I fall in love with produce first, and then I fall in love with cooking after. I fall in love with cooking when I was about 18 or so. And yes, produce is absolutely a main thing in Sardinia, right? If you don't buy the ingredients when they're in season, people, they're just like, they get mad. They get mad. My dad, if I buy strawberry when they are not in season, they was like, what are you doing? It really get upset, But yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. But it's kind of natural. It's kind of natural eating healthy, right? And eating healthy, though, it doesn't mean vegan or vegetarian. It's a balance.
Exactly.
You eat a little bit of everything, right? And in fact, in my cookbook, you will see that because I have donuts in the cookbook, and you can treat yourself sometimes to those things as well. But it's all about balance. Always is all about balance. Yeah.
But the old saying, "Everything's good for you in moderation." I think that's probably what is all about the blue zone diet. The fact that you're actually eating so many different things. You know, eating fish, you're eating meat, you're drinking red wine. You're having all these things which actually kind of support your body. I mean, it's a great thing to do. So, what's the definition of a blue zone diet? What would you say it is?
It's a balance of eating what's in season for sure, full of pulses, a diet full of pulses, eating fish and meat once a week, definitely not once a day. It's as well about how we eat, right? We take the time. For example, family meals are really important, right? It's not just about making healthy food, it's about staying with people, cooking together, and stuff like that.
It's kind of everything, mental health as well.
It's a mental health as well, yes. So let's say that cooking good food is a good start. Cooking healthy food is a good start. But then what it comes all around that was the conversation about the food around the table, right? So for me, I grew up in a family that when we will sit down at the table, the TV has to be off. Telephone,
of course.
Phone, no way you can bring the phone at the table, right? So it was all about, chatting about how the day was or talking about dinner while you were eating lunch, all stuff like that. But overall, I'll say fresh ingredient, seasonal, and sometimes fish and meat.
So it's all about the community. It's also about your family. It's about everyone providing something at the table almost.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. And my auntie appears quite a lot in my cookbook because she's absolutely incredible in terms of preserving stuff, right? She makes some incredible jams, incredible sun-dried tomatoes, and the most amazing passata as well.
I want to meet your auntie.
Oh, why not? You can come around, you can come around. You'll love it for sure. So for me, actually, my family has been a really, really inspirational. My auntie, my mum, they've been really inspirational for my cooking journey. Yeah. Usually people will say, "Oh, my grandma, my granddad."
Yeah.
My grandma used to work in the farm.
Okay.
She used to grow some amazing sweet potatoes. She was really famous for sweet potatoes. And to be honest with you, my grandma, when I used to go out with her when I was a child, the only thing she used to cook for me was minestrone, fried eggs, or sweet potatoes. That was it. Or some kind of chicken in different ways. But actually, who really made me fall in love with the food was my mum and my auntie, honestly.
So your book, Live Like a Sardinian, Live to 100, is literally, it's your life story, really. It's in recipes.
Yes, it is. In fact, each recipe has a different story, different occasion, or when I used to eat that kind of food. So in fact, what I want people to take out from the cookbook is not just about the recipes, but is as well how and when you should eat that food, right? For example, I have some really simple pork steak with lemon, sage, and those when usually something I do with my friends when we go up to the mountain. We've got some really pork steak, a little bit of lemon on top at the end, stuff like that. And probably the ingredient listed, there are about 3 or 4 ingredients, very, very little. But when you have it in an environment, when you create that environment, that makes the recipe. It makes it so amazing, Oh, another episode I remember, it was, I used to live in this house. I mean, my parents, they still live there. We had this house all together where it was basically 4 or 5 houses, and was my mom, my dad, my auntie at the top, my grandma. So we used to live all together, and then we have this massive garden where I used to cycle around with my cousins, blah, blah. And I used to go in mid-afternoon to my grandma at home. And she was like, "Oh, Francesco, would you like something to eat?" Yeah. A snack, yes, a snack, fantastic. What do you have? So I got some bread, I got some cheese, and I got some pear, right? And put it together. I remember it, for me, I remember that flavor like it was yesterday. It was so simple, 3 ingredients, but the combination of the carbs, the cheese and the pear, the fruit together, it was just like an explosion of flavor. It's so good. So, as I said, is memories.
Yes.
So this cookbook is about memories, is about the ethos of Sardinia. So what I'm trying to do is to bring these ethos around the world.
So it's not just about the recipes, it's not about the kind of eating healthy, it's about life, really. It's about making sure you can have a fulfilling life by cooking with people
Absolutely.
or cooking for people and having people together.
It's a very, very important step. Never miss that one. Yes.
And keep it so simple as well.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple is definitely secret, especially nowadays that people, they have less time to cook. They probably will spend about 20 minutes maximum. People, when they see a recipe when it's more than 20 minutes, they start being, I want something quicker, healthier, stuff like that. So Italian food, I think, is really good for that. Obviously, we have, if you're making lasagna from scratch, pasta, it takes time.
It takes time.
But there is some recipes really good for you, really healthy. And Italian food, I think, if you want to cook something quick, healthy, you can really do it.
But I think we spend too much time worrying about time in some ways. It's like we think, okay, I've only got 20 minutes to do this. Why not make the soup and have everyone round, or even make a soup and give it to people and just share that kind of love? I think we don't do enough of that anymore.
No.
I think it's a really nice thing, and this is starting to smell amazing. So the tomatoes are starting to break down.
Yeah. So what the tomatoes did here, it kind of like allowed the garlic to don't burn as well.
Yeah.
And as well the basil and the parsley in there.
I love the fact that you're cooking it so slowly. I mean, literally is on the lowest flame possible, but it's just cooking beautifully.
So what I want to do now is to just kind of like fill it up this with water. There is no need of vegetable stock, because that's basically
It's a vegetable stock in itself, yeah.
Yeah, it's a vegetable stock. But look at the color already.
And those herbs are just sort of floating in there, but they're adding so much flavour, the basil and the parsley.
Yeah.
So this recipe is a great recipe for someone who, okay, we're talking about time, contradicting myself here, but if you didn't have that much time, you just buy some jarred beans, make the base, and you can make the whole soup in an hour?
In an hour,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why. And you can batch cooking.
Yeah.
In fact, when I do this at the beginning of the week, if you don't cook the pasta inside, it will last for about 5 to 6 days in the fridge. And you can freeze it as well if you want. So it's great for batch cooking.
And it's just such a nice thing to sort of come home, a bit chilly outside, heat up some soup, or minestrone, and just eat.
Yeah, a bit of cheese on top if you wish. Or sometimes as well, breadcrumb. Right, I like to add some breadcrumb on top.
Fried or just dried?
No, fried.
Fried.
So pan grattato. So pan grattato toasted with some other flavors, some other herbs on top. Back in the days, that was you know as well. That was the cheese of the poor people.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
the cheese of the poor people. So when you didn't have cheese, you used to put a little bit of pan grattato on top. Yeah.
So this is pure cucina povera.
Pure cucina povera, absolutely.
Povera, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Good Italian, no worries. So this one, as I said, we're going to cover it. We're going to let it cook until the potatoes are nice and soft.
Yeah.
And then in this case, because we're using tin pulses, so tin chickpeas and borlotti beans, we're going to go with those in. With the Savoy cabbage, we're going to roughly chop it. And then in this case, we're going to go with the pasta as well inside.
Right.
What I like to do, though, because my partner, she loves the pasta in. I personally love it without the pasta, right?
Okay.
Today we're going to have it with the pasta. It's up to you. But if that's the case, if you have some family member where some people like with pasta or no, you can just take portion out, put in another pot, and just cook the pasta only in one.
So I guess what the pasta does, it fills you up even more.
Yes, carbs, right? It makes the soup quite starchy, a little bit more creamy, a little bit more heavy as well.
But they're good carbs. I mean, you've got lots of pulses. You've got the carbs in there. It's really good for your digestion.
This one is a semolina. It's durum with semolina.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, they think like, oh, how can Italians eat so much pasta every day? Yes, we can eat pasta every day.
You look all right.
Yes, we can eat pasta every day. And I probably don't eat every day, but every other day I do eat pasta. It's all about quantities.
Yes.
Okay? We don't make a spaghetti bolognese and eat like 200 grams and that only.
You don't make spaghetti bolognese full stop.
First of all, exactly. That's why I say that. But it's all about portion.
Yeah.
So it's all about 80, 90 grams, which sounds very little. But you don't have only pasta. Then you have fruit and vegetables around the table, a nice salad or whatever. Yeah.
So, I mean, the Italian diet or Sardinian diet, it's all about, you have the antipasto, where you have the combination of vegetables and maybe a little bit of meat, possibly, maybe a bit of cheese. Then you have the pasta, which is the carbohydrate. And then you probably have the secondo, which is the protein.
Yeah.
So it might be a piece of fish. It's a balanced diet. It's not all in one go. It's not this huge, great meal of lots of fat or protein. It's lovely balance.
It's a lovely balance. It's good fats, good extra virgin olive oil. Sometimes lard as well.
Yeah.
You can use butter as well. It's not really the same, but you can use butter as well. But back in the days, they used to use lard because it was easily available, and as well, it will give a really nice flavor to the dishes. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And so what's next? So that's all cooking nicely.
That's gonna cook down,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna wait probably about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, so the potatoes cooked, and then we're gonna go in with the pulses, pasta, and Savoy cabbage.
Right, so this has now been cooking and it smells amazing. I'm just going to have a little taste, if that's okay.
Happiness.
Delicious. Got so much flavour.
Right, now we're gonna give it even more flavor.
Okay.
Right? So chef, if you please chop that up.
Yeah.
I reckon about a quarter of that, roughly chopped, and then we can put it in right away.
Just a quarter?
Just a quarter, I think that
Yeah.
will be enough. We can see.
And then
that by
just shred it like that?
Yeah, shred it like this is perfect. Thank you.
And no waste at all?
No waste at all. Yeah, that one, we can chop it nice and fine,
Yeah.
and we can put it in as well.
Okay.
Good point. I'm gonna go in with the chickpeas.
Yeah.
So straight in at this point. And then I'm gonna go in as well.
These are the cooked chickpeas?
These are not the cooked chickpeas,
Yeah.
yes. So I'll say about, you wanna put them in for about 10 minutes or so.
Just go straight in?
That goes in.
Yeah.
We're gonna put the temperature up on a high heat. Perfect. And that is gonna go all in. Beautiful. So now I'm gonna go in with the pasta.
Okay.
This fregula is gonna take about 10 minutes or so. But if you don't find this one, you can use broken spaghetti.
Ah, okay.
I know people say, oh, you can't break spaghetti.
Yeah.
You can break spaghetti in an Italian cuisine, but usually when you break them, it's usually for soups.
Yes.
So what we like to do is to put it in a tea towel,
Yeah.
like that.
And
You
then
put the
bash
spaghetti, and then you bash them down.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
break them all up, put them in. Right?
Amazing.
So I'm gonna go. Let's say this is about 4 people portion. So I like to go. Let's see, I'm not waiting. I'm just going about 4 handful of fregula straight in.
So this is a very practical soup in the sense that you can buy this from most supermarkets. You can get everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything. You can get anything in a supermarket. You can't get my auntie Sandra tomato.
Of course not. Of course not. No. You have to compromise on there.
You have to compromise on that. But however, if you buy, for example, sun-dried tomatoes in olive oil,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Make the most of that olive oil.
Yes.
Right? Use a little bit of that olive oil at the beginning with your sofrito. And that, is making the most of what you're buying as
It's a very good point because there's so many ingredients you can buy, like anchovies in oil, you get tuna in olive oil, you get sun-dried tomatoes in olive oil.
Anchovies.
Yeah.
Anchovies in that.
Really?
Anchovies in that, a little touch at the beginning. Because anchovies, if you think about it, in Italy, we don't use them as an ingredient itself. We use them as a flavor bomb.
seasoning.
As a seasoning.
Yeah.
So a little bit of anchovies in there at the beginning, instead of sun-dried tomatoes, beautiful. Or both of them
I
together.
have to tell you, I'm an anchovy addict.
Really?
Absolutely love anchovies.
I love them as well.
I could eat anchovies breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I even tell you. So for breakfast, I'd have a piece of toast, nice piece of sourdough, really good olive oil, bit of anchovy on top, a couple of anchovy fillets, just whole,
good.
little bit of lemon juice.
Oh,
It's just incredible. I mean, lunch, I'd probably make a little salad with some anchovy.
Yes.
Dinner, I'd always put the anchovy in the tomato sauce.
or into a paste. It's fantastic. For me, anchovies is a very good secret, as I said, at the beginning of a sofrito. For example, aglio, olio, peperoncino.
Yeah.
Chili, garlic, and olive oil.
Yeah.
That one is a very well-known recipe in Italian cuisine. 3 ingredients, absolutely fantastic. But the secret in that one is adding a little anchovies at the beginning. You fried everything, you break down the anchovies. I remember because my partner, she doesn't like fish. She doesn't eat fish. But she doesn't know, but she does eat fish.
She does now.
She does. Well, she will know now, but she does eat fish. So every time I make an aglio olio peperoncino, I always put a little 2 anchovies in there.
And she doesn't have any
She doesn't
idea.
know. She doesn't know. It's it just gives that
We used
umami
to just make it without it and see if she says anything.
Let's see.
Not as good as normal. Well, fabulous. So growing up, you obviously ate an amazing diet. You had an incredible food. You lived in a country that's just beautiful. I mean, it must have been... it must be quite hard to leave something like that. I mean,
man.
Going to Australia is, again, an amazing country. And coming back to the UK... it's a different way of life and everything, but it just must be that whole kind of that love of the family, love of produce, the food. It must be hard to leave.
Very hard. I was out of home pretty early, let's say. But when I traveled to Australia, I really felt I was too far away from my home.
Yeah.
I felt that community. Even though, when I was in Brisbane, there was a beautiful Italian community. And then after I open a restaurant, Italian, it just appears.
Yeah, of course.
From everywhere.
Yeah. It's food. Italians come everywhere.
Italians from everywhere. Sardinia is beautiful. It's fantastic. I'm really grateful to be born there and I had a beautiful life in there. But when I moved to Australia, as I said, I still had the sunshine, good food. But when I moved to the UK, oh God. Oh God!
Sorry about that.
No. Wait. The first few months, I remember I was working really hard. The kitchen was basically underground, no sunshine, no vitamin D at all. My partner was like, "You are sick.
Yeah.
You are feeling like you are great. So what's going on with you?"
Yeah.
So at the beginning it was a bit of a hard transition coming to the UK, but eventually I make the most of it, and I love it. I love it. I learned so much. I work with some fantastic chefs. I'm doing this stuff. The opportunity that England gives you, London gives you, is you can't find anywhere. So, however, I feel lucky again. Yes. So I was very lucky born in Sardinia, and I feel really lucky to travel to Australia. Did what I did. I feel really lucky now to be in London. It's absolutely fantastic.
But what's lovely about what you're doing in London is you're teaching people the true Sardinian food, which is obviously, I guess, you're a little bit homesick in some ways. You can actually, it's a nice way of, and also Italians living in London. I think I work with a lot of Italians in the restaurant, and you can see when they're not that happy because there's something about it. They've lost something.
Yes.
And it always comes with food, and that's we had a great Sunday. We had all our friends around. We had a lovely big Sunday lunch, and you could just see it. So they're re-energized with that sort of Italian spirit.
We can be quite dramatic sometimes. They are all like really sad or really happy.
There's nothing in between. It's either on or off.
Yes, exactly. Right, look at that.
That looks amazing.
Look at the color already, how it's changed.
You know what I'm loving about this is it's starting to sort of emulsify. It's kind of creamy because of the beans and the potatoes.
Look at that.
It's gorgeous.
So I think we're getting in there. You can see the beans are still holding on. The chickpeas are holding on. You want to make sure basically that the beans and chickpeas, they're not breaking down completely. They don't get mashed. Something else you can do from here before you add the pasta though, you can take a little bit out.
Yeah.
You can blitz it.
Yeah.
And then put it back in to make it even creamier. If you don't like sometimes people they don't like soup when it's, I don't want to say watery, but there is not much consistency.
Yeah.
So I think if you are one of those, you can always take out a little bit, blitz it up, obviously without the pasta, and then put it back in, and it gives you a really nice and creamy soup.
Yeah, there's two schools of thought, aren't there? There's the kind of there's a sort of soup eater that likes to eat soup that's sort of creamy and hasn't got any sort of lumps in it, or the people like myself, and I'm sure like you like that texture and having that kind of a little bit of creaminess, maybe from just stirring it.
Exactly. That's
having those big chunks of beans and potatoes and the Savoy cabbage, it just makes it tasty better.
So much tastier.
I think it's absolutely perfect. I think we should go and eat this now.
That's a real honor from you, Chef. Fantastic. So should we serve it up?
Let's serve it up. Francesco, this smells and looks amazing.
I'm so excited.
And you've got a wine with you. Which wine's this?
This is Cannonau from Sardinia. This is what we drink pretty much every single day. I know, but it's just a little bit every day, right?
But this is the whole point of the Blue Zone diet. Everything's good for you in moderation.
Yes, in moderation, with common sense, and especially it's important that you share it in good occasions like this one. So we say in Sardinia, agentannos, 200 years. Cheers.
Cheers. This is gorgeous. I mean, it's so creamy that I guess all those beans have just sort of made it lovely emulsified. You didn't even blitz it.
Yeah, nothing.
Oh my God. It just feels like I'm eating something really good for me, but it tastes so nice.
Comforting, right? And you know what? I know it might be, when you're thinking like a summertime, can you have something like this in summertime?
Of course you can.
Yes, you can,
yeah.
Right?
But you can, a nice thing is you can change it accordingly to what there is. So you obviously got Savoy cabbage in there, but I guess you got that base of the potatoes, the sofrito, maybe a few beans. You could add some courgette, zucchini or something, which would just give it that sort of freshness, maybe a few more herbs.
It's literally so good for you. There is so many health benefits around this. And I remember when I used to live in Australia, I used to call my mom. I was like, "Mom, I'm feeling sick. I'm a bit under the weather." I was like, make a minestrone.
Yeah.
It will just cure you for 100%.
Is that what she says every time you say anything?
Every time. Every time. Yeah.
the cure for everything, make a minestrone.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. But I'm going to try a little bit of pecorino because you.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
So I absolutely. I mean, Sardinia is famous for pecorino, and pecorino sardo is one of the most delicious cheeses.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in Sardinia we have more sheep than people.
Yeah.
No joking. And I know there is two types of pecorino in Italy. We have a pecorino romano and Sardinian pecorino, but still the milk comes from Sardinia. It gives a little bit of acidity as well. The pecorino is quite acidic and a bit sweet. So I think it can be quite strong. I'm going to be honest. It can be quite strong in flavor. So if you don't love the pecorino cheese, you can always go with a little bit of Grana Padano or Parmigiano Reggiano if you wish.
But you don't need much of it. That's the point. I mean, a little sprinkle has just lifted that soup to another level. And I've got that lovely sort of
tanginess.
Yeah,
tanginess.
It's that sort of sheep's milk that just kind of is tangy.
It's tangy. Yes, exactly. And now
this wine
is a perfect balance.
This is what it's all about. Cucina povera at its best. I mean, that really is, for me, is like, it's kind of perfect meal.
You could have a little bit of bread on the side as well, a good nice and toasted bread, bit of olive oil, and that will be like a full meal.
So what was it like writing your first cookbook? I mean, writing a cookbook can be quite stressful, and it takes an awful lot of time. What was it like?
Oh, it took me about 2 years. First of all, because I wanted to make sure I can come back to Sardinia easily. I need to make sure those recipes are perfect. The whole, I think, Sardinian people, because this one is, I think, one of the first Sardinian cookbook in English. So I feel like I had a lot on my shoulder. Yeah. But I truly enjoy it. I enjoy the process so much. We went to Sardinia. We did a photo shoot in Sardinia. Dave Brown is the photographer and designer. And when I suggest the publisher, I think we should go to Sardinia to show this book, because I want people to get the essence of what it's all about.
Your
the famous, yeah, exactly. So I said, I want the photographer to stay at home. Don't get in an hotel. Just stay at home, sleep in my childhood room, and then you're gonna get the vibe, the real vibe. So I remember on the second day, Dave Brown woke up. It was like 6 a.m. in the morning. Sunshine was really high up because it was summer. My mum was making a lemon crostata. Oh. I was still in bed. I swear to God, I was still in bed. So I wake up. It was like 6:30, and it was my mum, which doesn't speak English at all, and Dave Brown shooting with the sunrise, the beautiful lemon crostata. And I was like, "What are you guys doing already working?" I was like, but it was beautiful. Because you can catch, it really catch the whole essence of the family style, the meals, and was absolutely beautiful. So I'm so glad we did most of the photo shoot in Sardinia. But however, it's been hard work, really hard work. But I can't wait to get it out there. I can't wait. It's good to show people that Italian cuisine has so many faces, right? So Sardinia is one of those, and I'm looking forward to show people,
There are a lot of homesick Italians out there that will love this book.
I do have a lot of second-generation Italian from the UK or America that they talk to me and they go like, "Oh my God, this recipe just remind me of my mom, of my grandma. Thank you so much for sharing it." And for me, that is so important. You just bring back memories to people, and that's what it's all about. I love it.
You're all about teaching. I mean, you've written a book, and you do a lot of cookery classes, which all. Cookery class is almost like, I think it's like being a stand-up comedian, because it's quite hard. I mean, you have to make sure that you engaging with people as soon as they come in.
Yes.
They want to be entertained, but they also want to be taught as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard work.
It's very hard. In the meantime, you have to make good food.
Yeah, of course.
So, a good example is I do food festival and events throughout the whole summer, especially all around the UK, and I love it. I love it so much. But it is like a stand-up comedian, literally. So the vibe needs to be up there. The energy needs to be up there. You need to keep them entertained, and it needs to be something interesting, something that people love. So it's a combination of things. Yeah. And I think throughout the years, I think I've learned that You need as well to to teach people in different ways, because sometimes people can be shy, sometimes people they want everything from you, or so it really depends. It really depends. But I truly love it. I truly love it, and I think teaching is a very good way. However it's online, however it's in person, is a very good experience.
Yeah. Well, I think you're really selling Sardinia, which is so lovely, and I have to say, that is the most delicious minestrone. I mean, it's so tasty. No, it's really good. I'll make one of these once a week for my family. I mean, it's a sort of staple in our house, and I'll make it on a Sunday and it all gets distributed on a Monday. If I don't make it, it ruins everybody's week. So this really is up there with one of the best minestrones I've tasted.
Fantastic, thank you.
And this wine is delicious too.
Yeah, it is a great pair. I think those sun-dried tomatoes.
The sun-dried tomatoes almost taste like meat. I mean, I'm eating this and thinking, is there a bit of pancetta or something in there? There's no meat in there at all. No. And it's just so meaty and fulfilling. It's fantastic.
You can add pancetta though.
Yeah,
there is some recipes in Sardinia, they will add a little bit of diced pancetta at the beginning with the sofrito, without the use of olive oil, but or you can add the drizzle of olive oil, and that will be really good. But as you said, it's quite heavy already in a good way.
It's amazing. Well, it's absolute pleasure to have you on the recipe. I've really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot, because I always learn a lot from Italians and particularly Sardinians. So thank you so much.
Cheers. Thank you so much. It's been absolutely a pleasure meeting you. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Recipe with me, Theo Randall. You can find more flavour-packed recipes on the Filippo Berio website at filippoberio.co.uk/Theo. And make sure to follow Francesco at our cooking journey and pre-order a copy of his upcoming cookbook, Eat Like a Sardinian, Live to 100. Don't forget to subscribe, follow and share the podcast wherever you listen. And join us next time as we uncover more inspiring dishes and the stories behind them. Until then, happy cooking.